Alright, if you have a Canon R5C, I hope you're feeling pretty good, because this week, your camera just got Netflix approved. Let's go ahead and take a look at what exactly that means. Oh hey, and by the way, if you find this useful, do me a favor and please hit that subscribe button down below. It makes a huge difference in being able to keep this channel going. I do not do this full time. I am a full-time director and cinematographer. My YouTube channel is something I do out of fun and passion, and it makes a huge difference in letting me know that this is still worth doing and keeping out there and getting you content like this. So Canon released a bunch of interesting firmware updates, and really all of the noise and dismay has been over the Canon R5. But surprisingly, the Canon R5C also released a firmware update that was different than the R5 and actually packs a really incredible bit of information. This is firmware update 1.0.3.1. It's a really minor update from Canon. It basically improves C-Log3 capture when shooting in XFAVC or MP4 on the Canon R5C. But the reality is this bug actually unlocks the camera to now be one of only 2 hybrid cameras on the entire market that are Netflix approved. That's right, the Sony a7S III, the Blackmagic Pocket, they have not reached this designation. But now the Canon R5C joins the Panasonic S1H as the only hybrid cameras that are officially Netflix approved. Now when it was released in March of 2022, the Canon R5C, an 8K 12-bit RAW beast of a camera, was rejected by Netflix. And one of the principal reasons why is because the Canon lacked C-Log2. And that lack of C-Log2 meant the Canon R5C could not meet some of the dynamic range specifications that Netflix likes to see. It's a big reason why that camera was not allowed to become Netflix approved. Now what's great about this is with this firmware update, it is apparent that Canon has been working with Netflix in mind, and now the R5C with this firmware update is officially approved as a Netflix camera. Now, if you know anything about shooting on a Netflix approved camera, you will know that just because a camera is Netflix approved, you do have to set it up in a very specific way to make sure you meet its rules and regulations. I'm gonna pull up all the settings here on the official Netflix homepage so you can see it. But really the main thing you need to do is you need to make sure if you wanna shoot your Canon R5C for Netflix approved content, it needs to be in C-Log3 and Cinema Gamut. You can also do XFAVC, it needs to be 10-bit 422 in both full frame and super 35mm crop. This is actually a really great thing if you have super 35 lenses, for instance. You can shoot in that super 35 crop and get just access to tons of lens choices to tell your story and however you want to say it. You also can access the high speed capabilities of the Canon R5C in XFAVC in both full frame 422 10-bit up to 120 frames a second and in XFAVC super 35 cropped up to 60 frames per second. Now the other thing is that Netflix does say you need to set your black balance on your camera every day once your camera gets up to temperature just to make sure the black levels are. So make sure you get the ABB that comes on the Canon R5C, make sure you set it every day, and your camera now basically is going to be up and ready for Netflix approval. Now as cool as all this is, I do need to bring up one special caveat here. Yeah, it is. As a Canon R5C user, I am excited now that this camera is officially Netflix approved. But the real question is, do you need a Netflix approved camera if you have a Sony a7S III, if you have a Blackmagic Pocket? The answer is no. I mean, the reality is Netflix buys content all the time that is shot on non-Netflix approved content. The Netflix approved designation really applies to Netflix originals or if Netflix is hiring you to shoot stuff for Netflix. So if you don't have a Canon R5C and you're shooting a film and hoping someday to maybe get it on Netflix, that is not going to be the thing that keeps you from getting on Netflix. I would like to point out the Arri Alexa, the classic Arri Alexa, is not an official Netflix approved camera. But there are dozens and dozens and dozens of films shot with the Arri Alexa that are on Netflix. It's about original content and things that they're creating that Netflix has as standard. So if you have something out there, don't let this be something that discourages you. However, on the other side, this kind of Netflix approval over the last couple of years has kind of become sort of a shorthand for a kind of industry standard baseline of quality that, while it's somewhat arbitrary, it's just nice to have this designation now on the Canon R5C. So anyway, even though this was a minor firmware update, I think this has major implications for this camera. And if all else fails, upgrade your firmware because, man, any improvement to our C-Log footage, even if you're never going to get on Netflix, is a good thing. Anyway, guys, I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. Leave me any notes and comments down below. And yeah, go out there, keep on shooting, and yeah, I'll talk to you soon.